One man's trash is another man's treasure. Welcome to Be the Ant Preparedness. Well, hello boys and girls. Welcome once again. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please do the whole like, share, subscribe thing and the comment. Is my intro too long? Are the videos too long? Are they too short? Anything like that. I always like the feedback. I don't know if you guys are enjoying them or not. Yeah, I get the thumbs up and I get a few subscribers here and there. But through your feedback is where I can kind of tweak the channel and figure out what you guys are enjoying and not enjoying. So, on to today's video. Yeah, using trash to better improve your survival odds, one man's trash, another man's treasure, whatever you want to call it. And what led me to do this is been thinking about the things that we've done at our property over the years, and I'm like, you know what, maybe there's somebody out there that hasn't thought about things like that. So the first thing I want to touch on are old refrigerators, freezers, things of that nature. And you can find these things. You guys probably know somebody that's has thrown them out or had to have scrap come get them, or you know, if they buy from one of the big box store, they haul away them for free. That's so nice of them, so that they can go and sell it. But they can be very useful, and not from a standpoint of what they were intended to do. There we go. Years ago, at our property, my grandfather had got this old chest freezer, and he said, we're gonna stick it in one of our buildings there. And I'm like, why in the world are we bringing out a freezer that doesn't work? And he explained to me that we're going to use it to put feed corn in. At the time, we supplemented wildlife. You know, the deer and the turkeys and the chickens, and well, not the chickens, but the deer and the turkey and the squirrels, things like that. And we had different feeders set up, and we would use corn, horse and mule feed, things of that nature. Well, the problem is nobody lives at the property, and it's out in the sticks, if you guys have watched any of my other videos. And to take bags of feed out there, the next time you come out, it's going to be ripped open, spread all over the place, tainted, whatever you want to say. So we took this chest freezer and we put it in one of the outbuildings, and it worked beautifully. We were able to purchase feed corn in the bags. We didn't have to worry about making sure we stop and get feed every time we went out. We could designate one trip, this is when we're going to fill up, and that chest freezer would hold, if I'm remembering right, 800 to 1,000 pounds of feed. And in fact, we didn't fill it up. We were more concerned about the floor caving in, okay? But it worked beautifully. You know, the old chest freezer, you lift up the lid, we put the bags in there, we closed the lid, and that kept mice and whatever else from getting to that stuff. So it worked. Old refrigerators, same thing, okay, if you're looking to store things. In fact, we've if you guys watched video from last week or something like that, I was discussing our root cellar, and we have problem with moisture getting in. A lot of the canned goods that people have taken out are utterly destroyed. They are not usable. So let me back up, sorry. Doing a lot of single words. We had a refrigerator out there that went kaput, and we've got a new one, but instead of throwing it out, we take that fridge, put it in the root cellar. Now it doesn't work, so we can't plug it in and use it, but what we can do is use that to store new canned goods, and that will help keep the moisture away and also act as a barrier against the cold. Okay, your canned stuff, you don't want to allow to freeze because it can bust, okay, and then your food's no good. So even though we have a root cellar, we have noticed that we're getting some spots in there when it's really cold, that the temperature is getting below zero, or not below zero, but below freezing. And yes, we are going to fix that. Like I said, it's on our list of things. But we had this fridge, and I'm like, let's stick it in there. And what it does is, you know, you get your cold temperatures at night, right? So throughout the night, if it gets really cold, temperature will drop in the root cellar. But the refrigerator that's insulated, it's going to take longer for that in there to get below freezing, and hopefully by the time it starts getting close, morning comes, the sun's coming, it's starting to warm back up, and we'll be okay. We haven't got a chance to test that yet. We're still doing other things, doing cleanups, but the next time we go down, we're going to be testing that out, and we are going to give it some time and see how it does. But old freezers, old refrigerators, even if you're looking for something to make a cache out of, okay, if you're able to, and I'm not talking about along your bug out route, no, there's no way you're going to bury that. But I recommend, if you have a bug out location, always have that contingency plan, right? Somewhere on your property, you ought to have a cache of blank, okay? Whatever. A little bit of everything would be really nice, just in case, right? Well, if you've got an old fridge, if you've got an old freezer, something like that, you have to think about it like a container, and you may be able to set that up and make a cache out of it. Now, it's going to be exposed to the weather. You're going to have to take that into account, you know, some heavy-duty paint, whatever. But put your noggin to it a little bit, you can probably figure out a way to use that. What else was I wanting to think about besides the fridge and the freezer? Straight up hillbilly stuff, but I'll let y'all know. Tires, okay. Old tires, I've known of people to stack tires. They'll go 4 foot high with the tires or something like that, and they'll fill that with dirt, and they can grow potatoes in it. So if you're in a situation where you don't have the horizontal space to grow more, it allows you to go a little bit more vertically. And I'm sure there are many other reasons to have tires, excuse me, but none of us want our property look like a junkyard, though. Even though I'm hillbilly, I do have some standards. One thing also, old windows. Please do not throw out old windows. If you are getting the windows replaced on your home, and I'm sure them boys are going to be more than happy to take them off your hands. If you can, keep your old windows, store them, and you can make different things out of those. Maybe one of your windows at your location breaks. You might be able to hillbilly away to have a window repaired there. You can use them for, what are they called? I can't remember the term. I can't remember if they call them hotbeds or something like that. But basically what you do is, over a raised bed, in the spring, you kind of make like a greenhouse out of it. You've got your raised bed, and you take the windows and you put over that raised bed, and it's sealed up around the sides. And what that does is it allows that thermal energy to come in, but just like a greenhouse, it doesn't really allow it to escape. So that helps to warm up the soil in the springtime, so that the seeds will go ahead and germinate and take root, and just a nice little starter. Or if you've got some seedlings already in the ground and you hear that there's a frost coming, you can use that, and that will help warm up that soil during the day, make sure you don't burn your plants, and will get you going through the night. On that idea, 2-liter bottles. 2-liter bottles are extremely handy. The thing that sucks about them is they suck to store. They take up a ton of room. I mean, if you can imagine having 10 2-liter bottles just sitting there, they do take up a lot of room. But they are very handy. We were just talking about the garden beds. Let's go back to that. If you've got a setup to where you've got the windows over it, you can take those water bottle, or those 2-liter bottles, excuse me, fill them with water. They will heat up during the day, and they will help hold that heat throughout the night. If you do have that frost, that'll help keep the frost off your plants. 2-liter bottles, great thing to have. In that category would be juice bottles or whatever else you have like that. The milk jugs I don't recommend. Milk jugs are a lot thinner. They understand that the milk itself has a shelf life, so they don't make it real heavy duty and all that. Your 2-liter pop bottles, your 20 ounces, your juice boxes, your juice bottles, there we go, I'll get it out. Gonna last a lot longer. I know, different day, got interrupted yesterday, so we're continuing today, and I got more errands to run, so I'm just keeping the mask on, and it's messing with my beard and it's upsetting me. But the 2-liter bottles, the juice bottles, things like that, they're already food grade, so you can clean them out real good and dry them, and they are excellent to store rice, oats, your shelf-stable things like that, things that you would put like in a Mylar bag, because nothing's going to get through that. Years ago, when we first started getting into this, that's what I first started doing, was taking the 2-liter bottles, excuse me, cleaning them out real good, sterilizing them, and then putting, yeah, I think we did rice, oats, I believe we did salt. You want a 2-liter of salt, it's got some weight to it. But things like that. And in fact, we will revisit that sometime this year. I'll go dig them out, and we're going to see how the food is, if it's still good, because that's been probably, wow, 9-10 years, something like that. Been a while once I started putting food back. And we'll test it, and we'll see how it is, and we'll let you guys know. Also good to use with the you guys have heard me talk about the Sawyer dual thread, their little water filter. That will screw right on a 20 ounce or a 2-liter bottle, and you'll have to poke some holes, but as far as something to get your dirty water in and put on the filter, excellent, works really good. Now, so as far as that, staying on the pop theme, pop cans, beer cans, things like that. I tell you what, guys, in my opinion, there's not a better, more affordable alarm system than that. They've got the, I'm talking about making tripwires, if you guys didn't figure it out. They've got the wow, if I can talk, the tripwire things out there that will shoot a 22 blank or a shotgun primer, and they're like $20 to $30 a piece. And that's all well and good. They work. From what I can see, they work well. I don't own any of them. Reason I don't own any of them, yeah, they will alert you if something sets that tripwire off, but it's also going to alert everything else that's around, at least for a few hundred yards, depending on your terrain. If you got a lot of trees, buildings, things of that nature. So me personally, I don't want the noise from one of those. If you're talking, especially if you're talking like bug out, get home situation, if you're out on patrol for some reason, you have to set up a little temporary camp for the night. I don't want that noise echoing throughout all over the place. Now, taking the beer cans or the pop cans and throwing some rocks down in the bottom of it, it's going to make noise, but it's not going to carry as far. Now, if it gets wrapped around a deer or coon and they start running with it, yeah, it's going to make some noise, but it's not going to have that sharp gunshot sound, right? What else? I made a list today. Okay, another one is old coolers. If you know anybody that's got old coolers they're going to throw out, if you got old coolers that you don't really want to put food in anymore, those can be very useful for making caches on your property. Okay, so if you can imagine having this pretty much a little chest, you know, and you can pick a spot and, you know, paint it up real good, and, you know, make sure it doesn't have the blue and the orange or whatever color your cooler is, and it makes a pretty good cache. Now, I will tell you guys, left out in the rain without any type of covering or anything else, coolers will allow water to get in. Okay, so be mindful of that. If you want to take a camo tarp and throw over the top and then cover that with some leaves, sticks, things like that, it'd make it pretty hard to spot. But they would be able to hold a number of things. I don't know that I would bury them. Just, they're big, it's going to take forever to dig, and I'm going to make a video about caches, so I'm just going to leave it at that. Watch the video on caches here in my future. I don't know, maybe y'all's past, and I'm going to break down some stuff about caches. But on your property, like, I recommend having those caches off property. Like I've said, be a nice one to be able to put some stuff in. Now, if you are putting metallic items in there, okay, that are prone to corrosion, I would definitely either vacuum seal or at least take a good heavy-duty freezer bag, gallon freezer bag, and keep them in that, and then put them in the cooler. Okay, you don't want to just put it in there and then you need to use it and the thing's rusted solid, right? Okay, coffee cans, been used. That and baby jars, baby food jars, those have been used forever by everybody, at least out in the sticks. Okay, yeah, containers, any type of container is extremely useful. I purchase, and I probably can't find it here. Nope, I can't. I was going to show you my Tubbo Chew. But anyway, any type of container. The coffee cans, they are not going to be waterproof. They are not going to be this. The baby food jars, you know, once again, it's not, you can't hold a bunch. But as far as organizing, and I'm talking about this stuff at your location. I'm not expecting you guys to be rolling around with coolers and 2-liter bottles and coffee cans strapped to your back. But it really helps for organization. That way you're not hunting and searching. I tell you, our camp, our farm, whatever we want to call it, drives me insane. I think I got a touch of OCD. I'm not sure. I've never been tested. Don't want to go through that. But yeah, it's like we spend I don't want to say more time, but a large amount of our time looking for stuff and just finding out where it's at. So coffee cans, baby food jars, any type of container can be extremely handy. Alright, so we're finally finishing this one up. Yeah, and you can see Dose in the background right about there. Had to pick them up from their pumping iron. Huh. That was not a good Arnold, but anyway. So anyway, you guys can see some of these things that can be useful that you can probably pick up for free, for cheap, get off somebody, and hopefully your wife doesn't call you a hoarder and a pack rat. But think about things, how they can be used. Short list, I guarantee there's tons of stuff. Please put all your stuff in the comments down below. Maybe somebody else will read that and help them out. So appreciate you watching, guys. Thanks a lot, and we'll talk to you after a while. Bye.